Welcome to our May New Hampshire Google Educator Live Google event. It's the last one for the 2017-2018 school year, and we're really excited. We have Susan Kiley joining in today. We're kind of bringing in some of Google educators from Massachusetts as well. And we try to have someone different every time, and Susan's going to come in and end up our year with some great end-of-the-year tips and student feedback tools and tips that you can use. Susan is, I'm going to share my screen real quick here. Here we go. And can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so again, before I even start talking about Susan, here is our document for this year. And this is when, of course, my computer freezes. There we go. And so right here we have the link to the resource document for today's Hangout. And Susan Kiley is a Google education trainer. You can see here's the link to Integrated Learning, which her website is susankiley.wordpress.com for integrated learning. And she is a Google educator. She is a former educator for Norton and Bishop.
Ian.
I knew I'd say that one wrong. And I've trained with, she's done presentations through MassQ, workshops in different places. And I have had the pleasure of working with her more than one time. And now she works full-time for MassQ as the communications marketing director. Is that correct, Susan?
Right, assistant, yes.
So I'm very excited that she's connecting with us, and she's also going to share some things happening in Massachusetts, so some events for the summer that you can look into, and so we're very excited to have her. So what I'm going to do right now is we are going to switch places. Here we go, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to now switch over to Susan. But before I do, again, we have Craig Shields joining us. GEG there, and with Susan Kiley at the bottom and myself, and I'm going to, Susan, go ahead.
Okay, hey everybody. So I think that we all know as teachers the importance of good feedback for students. Now that we work a lot with digital tools, some ways that we can use Google can be very helpful in this regard. So I'm going to share my screen and show you a few little tricks that I've used that are pretty cool.
Some ways that we can.
All right, so the first thing I wanted to show you was Google Forms. And a couple of years ago, Google Forms came up with the option that you can make a form a quiz. So I have here a brand new Google form that I've made a quiz by just turning this button on. And I'm going to save those settings. And I can add questions, so I'll call this a test, let's just say, and I'll just call this question 1. Oh, I'm still in the answer feedback. One moment here. We'll call this question 1, and let's say it's a yes, no, multiple choice. Now in Google Forms, when it's a quiz, we can click on answer key, and I can choose the correct answer. In this case, the correct answer is yes. And then I can add answer feedback. So this is a place where a teacher can give a student feedback to how they answered or responded to a question in a quiz. So if my correct answer is yes, I'm going to say great job. Again, this is just to keep it simple for now. And then for the incorrect answer, I may want to give more meaningful feedback so the student would have an idea of what to look for next time. So I would click on incorrect answers and say, nice try, look at this resource, let's just say. And from here, I could actually link to a YouTube video or a link to maybe a website. So let's just say I have a website, Science for Kids. And we'll choose this one. This is just for demonstration purposes. I'll go back to my Google form and place it in here and add it. So I would save these feedback options on the quiz. So the way this would look to a student, I'm going to preview. And I'm going to answer incorrectly and submit. view my score, and I got it wrong. All right. And at the bottom, I see the feedback saying, nice try, but look at this resource. And from here, I can directly go to the link that my teacher provides. So I thought that was a pretty nifty way to use Google Forms and feedback in Google Forms for teachers to give students quick feedback so that students can check and see where they went wrong.
Yeah, I like that option. I hadn't thought of doing that. We've done like custom feedback, but I never thought about putting a link to a resource for them to view afterwards. That's a good idea.
Yeah, thanks.
And Susan, and I don't know if you're going to talk about this, but one thing that I've discovered is on your form, you now with the 3 dots can say default the questions, make it all 5 points. I don't know, like that's something brand. So if you don't mind opening that up. So next to where it says send, there's the 3 dots. Oh, I'm sorry. So instead of hitting send, if you click the 3 dots next to it. No, sorry, if you don't mind canceling. So right next to your photo, there's the 3 dots all the way in the top right. Yeah, right there. And if you go to preferences all the way down to the bottom, just discovered this piece. You can default your quiz points so that it's not 0 all the way on the far right. You can say, actually, I want all of my questions are worth 10 points. And so instead of having teachers have to force that, and then you'll notice that there are other defaults now with forms, collecting email address and make questions required. So I thought that was a clever thing that Google added.
Yeah, I noticed my teachers really liked that when we were discovering. When I had a workshop recently, and they noticed that in their question, exam, you don't have to go 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. That's so helpful.
Right. So sorry, I didn't mean to hinder what you were just saying, or stop you from what you were just saying. But while you're in there, I thought it'd be something worthwhile to mention. Nope, it appears. There you go. Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next thing I wanted to share, which I thought was pretty cool, is if I'm in a Google Doc, and this is just a random Google Doc that I have the Chrome extension for Bitmoji installed, and I actually am signed into it with the Bitmoji on my cell phone. So I actually use these stickers for student feedback, where I can just click and drag from Bitmoji. And even as old as my high school students are or were last year, they love these little stickers. So I thought Bitmoji was a cool way to give kids feedback as well. And these are some of them. I'm just clicking and dragging them into the Google Doc. And they love it.
We all love a good Bitmoji.
Now, they're not great, but they are cool. The kids love them, and I try to. It isn't a lot of work to give each student their own unique sticker, and then it causes some flurry of activity, fun activity in the room. So that's another thing I like to do. The last and final thing I just wanted to show, and many people probably already know this, but you can also highlight text and comment inside of a Google Doc. The nice thing about this too is students can look at it, and I'm just going to type the word comment here, and when they read it, they can mark it as resolved, so that you know that they saw the comment and that they did something to it. They can also engage in a question and answer, a Q&A with you based upon comments that you leave in the Google Doc as well. So those were just a few tips that I thought would be helpful. In our resources document, I also listed a resource for Eric Kurtz. He's fantastic. He runs his Control Alt Achieve blog. And in here are a few more tips for adding feedback for students in Google Docs.
Are there any from there that you like the most that you want to share from Eric that you saw, or?
In Eric's, he had one for read-write, the read-write extension. And one thing that I thought was really cool in there is you can highlight text and do the voice recording over text feature in read-write. I'm not sure. Let me look and see if I can pull it up on mine. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sharing anymore, am I?
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
We have plenty of time. No worries.
Yeah, you can't see it on mine because I don't have premium, but there is a, hold on, let me go over here. So when you click on read write, there is this comment bubble here. It's a comment with a play button. You can actually record audio. I don't have premium, but teachers can get premium for free. So he mentions that in that blog post. And I thought that would be pretty handy for folks. Another idea that Eric has in there, hold on one second. Another idea that Eric mentions, my screen is not sharing again, is it? It keeps bouncing off. All right, let me share again.
Yeah, no problem.
In his Control-Alt-Chief, where is it? He mentions the use of Screencastify, which is another extension. You can save Screencastify recordings to your Google Drive, and then he just links the link to the video into the Google Doc, and the students can play it back.
Oh, that's a great idea of using Screencastify. I use it so often, I never thought of using it that way.
Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty cool tip too. So I just linked that in there for folks in case they wanted to see it. Yeah,
a lot of these tools, sometimes it's, you know, out of the box, it's projected one way or marketed one way. I was at about SoundCloud, and they said, you know, how many of you know SoundCloud? And we all went, yeah. And they said, well, how many of you use it for assessment? And we looked at them, we said, what? And he said, SoundCloud for assessment. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, you don't have to, you can use it for recording. We use it for recording students on how they're doing with music or sign language or anything, and not sign language, foreign language, anything verbal, and or they even use it for recording their interviews, if you will. But what it is you can actually upload those just like Google Drive and save and then share them. So it becomes, and then they use it for using SoundCloud that way. So same thing with Screencastify. I never thought about taking it and using it for verbal and video feedback and then putting the link in.
Right, me neither. And when you think about anything digital that has a link, you can pretty much embed it anywhere, you know, in HyperDoc or anywhere else. It's pretty neat.
Right.
I've had one teacher try and dabble in that a little bit last year, and I haven't connected with him this year to see if he's still doing it. But what he had done is kind of along that same idea, he would actually pull up the Google Doc, and then while he was reading it, he would actually point to things, and he would just highlight. And then they would say something like, now here is where you need to really think about your closing statement. Or right here, you really need to watch what you're doing with your run-on sentences. And this, it forced the kid, rather than just reading the text, they actually had to watch the 3-minute video of the teacher actually going through and explaining the different elements of it. Now, obviously, that takes time, but it is, like you said, it's a way to use a tool that you really don't think about. But there could be some. It's like doing that where you do teacher not interviews, or conference, when you do conference with a teacher, right? It's like, so this is like your digital version of conferencing with a teacher. And whether it's good or bad, you know, I know there's a lot more to having it in person, but it is a unique way of using it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's just looking at a tool and just thinking out of the box, and it's just sometimes someone will never thought about using it in that way.
Right. Duh, why haven't I thought of that?
Yeah, it's just like, they're like, oh, I've used that a million times and never thought of doing that. And I'm like, I know, me too.
Sure.
So I just think it's kind of taking things and thinking out of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
Susan, did you want to share the Autocrat thing that you mentioned earlier? Because we have time to do that if you'd like to do that. It's up to you. I know you had something up, so if you wanted to, but if not, that's okay.
It's not really relevant to student feedback per se.
Okay, well, I saw that you had something up. So if you wanted to share it, we have some time. If not, I can jump on to the next thing.
The Autocrat piece was really just, for example, if if teachers are giving end-of-year certificates out to the kids, there's a way you can digitize them using Autocrat. And as of last, I think it was August, it now supports, that script Autocrat is an add-on to Google Sheets, but now it supports Google Slides. So you can actually create certificates using Google Slides.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it used to be just docs.
Right.
But with Google Slides, which you can get more design options with Google Slides, you know, prettier things,
right? No,
things like that. I like those end of year tips. I used them last year at the end of the school year, actually, to generate teacher professional development, PDP certificates at our school, because everybody participated in different PLCs all year long. And at the end of the year, they all received a nice certificate of participation in 16 PDPs, that kind of a thing. So it was a quick way for the digital learning coaches in the school submitted a Google form and filled out certain fields, and then certificates were generated in email directly to the teachers, which was really nice. But that was using the Autocrat add-on. So it's not really feedback.
No, that's okay.
No, that's okay. We share things all the time.
Yeah. Do you mind showing just a little? Like, you don't have to.
Oh, I don't mind at all.
No,
yeah,
we don't.
I think what scares some people is, oh, this sounds way complicated.
Right.
And I think just, if you don't mind just taking the mystery out of the tool, even just a little bit, I think,
not at all.
because I think feedback you could get feedback differently, right?
Yep.
So I think a actual certificate is, in fact, a teacher giving potential feedback to students. So I do think this fits quite well, if you don't mind showing.
No, I don't mind at all. Here, let me hop on over to this folder. Let me just get a folder set up here.
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
You don't have to look at my whole ugly drive.
While you're doing that, I'll just mention some other ways by which Autocrat can be used.
Sure.
So, at our school, our counseling department, if kids are applying for applying for scholarships, they actually need to know, and in order for them to be on board, the counseling department, to make sure that they have the transcripts, all that stuff, students fill out an actual form, and we use Autocrat, and they immediately get an email then explaining their instructions as to when things are due based on the date that the scholarship has to be submitted. We also use it when kids are signing up for summer school, and immediately something is sent to parents to say, yes, we can confirm that so-and-so has signed up. Another instance it's used, I lie. Those are two examples. But anyway, AP tests. If a kid knows that they're going to take AP tests, there's a Google form. They fill it all out. They get there, and it tells them how much they have to pay based on the number of tests. So this really can be used not only what you're going to showcase, Susan, but also even our secretaries or administrative assistants who do a lot of back end stuff in our buildings. So
definitely.
Yeah.
We have enough time, Susan?
Oh yeah, I'm all set.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so let me share my screen. I hope it stays. Has it been sharing the entire time? Because it looked as though it was bumping. I don't know why. So I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. And let's see. So you can see it now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So I'm going to hop on over to our GEG doc, and I put the resources for this right here. So if I click on this Google Doc, anybody can, take this and use it. And I even put a little title here. So the steps to work with the templates is you first build the template. And as I said, you can use docs or slides. You create a Google form, a new sheet from the form, and I'll demonstrate that. And then I'll use the Autocrat add-on to generate certificates. So I want to go over to, in this bottom part of this resource, some ideas for its use. Craig, you just came up with some great ones, but other ones I could think of are a hall pass, a PD certificate I already mentioned, a student award, or a discipline report. And these are like make and take. Anybody can take these and copy these that want them. I actually presented this at Google Palooza, and people wanted examples of things. So they asked for these and I created them. So an example of what a Google Doc would look like, actually that one might be involved. Let me do this one. The Hall Pass Google Doc, it's loading, looks like this. Okay, so Autocrat, when you run this, the script later on, is going to be looking for what we call tags. And in here, anywhere we have a tag, it's very similar to a mail merge program. If you've ever printed off labels for your Christmas cards or things like that, it uses these tags, all right, and it basically defines these fields. Okay, and then I have a digital signature in here. Heaven help the kid who gets a hold of this without me knowing, right? And then the Google form, okay, for this particular hall pass looks like this. So you would complete the student name, the time, where they were going to and where they were going from, and then the teacher email. So if there are any questions, you know, then they can be questioned about it from the teacher. So if you look at the hall pass, you'll notice that name, time, to location, from location, and then the teacher, they match. Okay, so those are the two first pieces, the template itself with the tags, the Google form with the fields that match the tags. Okay, and then after I complete or fill out a Google form, and I'll do this for you as well, okay, the completed form looks like this. Okay, so this is the person's name. Heidi happened to be in my room that day, the time of day, the location from here to here, that kind of a thing. And then when it's completed, I have it set up, let's see here, to generate a hall pass, and there's the completed hall pass, and I did it in PDF format. Okay, so I'm going to complete this form. New. Oh, no, I'm not. It just went away. Hang on. You can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. So let me go into preview mode here, and I'm going to fill it out. And I'm going to say Jen Loughton wants to leave my room. And it is
That troublemaker Loughton,
I know.
She is a troublemaker, and I set up the time field to, like, you know, just.
She's always trying to get out of class.
Always trying to get out of class. She's going to the girls' room.
Again, gotta fix my makeup.
From my classroom. And I will put my email here. Let me just put my email, and I'm going to submit this form. Okay. Now, in Google Forms, I'm going to go back over to my editable version. You have responses in Google Form, and this just gives you high-level views of things that are submitted. However, most folks may or may not know that you need a Google Sheet to run Autocrat. So I click on the green Sheets icon, and I can do one of two things. If I already have a sheet, which in this case I do, that sheet will come up, or I may link a new sheet to it if it's my first time looking at responses in Sheets. So when I come into the Google Sheet, all right, let's see here. I have my Autocrat add-on up under my add-ons menu. I had added it, and I generated the PDF. Hang on one second.
So what's important to know, in case this is a new territory for a lot of people, with Google Sheets, you have the option to add some outside products that work very nicely with Google Sheets. And there's different add-ons for different products. And so you had, Susan, you had already obviously searched for Autocrat and have already connected it.
Yes.
But you'll notice in that add-on menu that she had open, at the very bottom, you're going to see where it says Get Add-ons, and that's where you had already. So I just wanted to make sure some people who may be new to add-ons are like, oh, I didn't even know this existed. That's where you're able to grab Autocrat from.
Yes, and while you were saying that, Craig, I did point and click for folks to see.
Awesome. Okay, perfect.
Where it was.
Perfect.
So let me hop back on over here. I have this set up to automatically generate the PDF, and you can see it here in my Hall Pass folder now. Okay, the new one for Jen, so she can go to the girls' room.
Oh, boy.
So now you can go. But the nice thing about it is all of the resources automatically get filed under the same folder as the spreadsheet, which I like that feature. So that's the Autocrat to generate in a doc. Do you want to see a slide?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I haven't seen the slide piece.
Okay, so student award. Let's go into this one. I created a single Google slide. Okay, and this is basically what it looks like. For high honors, you know, student name, this kind of a thing. And a lot of times at the end of the school year, it's a lot of work printing these things off. And yes, sometimes you go across the stage and you receive a piece of paper. And there is something that could be lost with digital, so we need to keep that in mind. But sometimes for like little class awards, that kind of a thing, you know, a little digital copy would be kind of fun for the kids to have. And the purpose of that may be a little student portfolio or a little class website the teacher maintains for younger kids, where you can just link for the resource. You can use the link view and just link them onto a little class Google site, things like that. So there's a lot of cute uses for it. And this pretty much works the same way as the Google Doc does. So you see here I have tags for student name, and then on the very bottom, kind of tough to see, I have tags for the teacher and the date. So if I come into the Google form for the student award certificate, it's pretty much the same thing. I can complete the responses the way I would any Google form, hop on over to Autocrat, run the add-on, and it will link. Hold on, let me open this up to my Google Drive folder. Still a little slow right now. And that's what it will look like. It's pretty slick.
Yeah,
So
that's nice.
I didn't know you could do it with Google Slides.
Yeah, that's relatively new. That came out last August. Yep.
And you know what? I just saw it just very recently. And I mean, I literally just saw it and I was like, oh my gosh. Because yes, you can make certificates in Google Docs, but you're right. In slides, you can make them so much more creative.
They're more graphically pleasing depending on what you want to do. I think the certificates look better in a slide because you can do more colors. And again, I put those templates out there for our audience this evening so they can take anything they want and copy it and use it. It's kind of cool. It'll make it easier for them as long as their Google form matches the tags. That's the big thing.
That's great.
Right. I think the biggest thing is having their fields matching up and trying out.
Right.
That really helps having the.
There's another video that I saw. I think it was one of the folks at Autocrat actually recorded it, where you could have a group of people complete a slide stack. Complete a Google form for a Google Slides template, and it does individual slides for every form submission. I saw a video on that, and I don't know how they made it happen. I haven't done it yet, but that's cool. It'd be a cool way to put together a class presentation.
Yeah, I'll check that one out. Yeah, I was excited when I saw that because that was one thing that I was like, oh, I really wish it would be in slides where you can make it. And I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. But we do the same thing. We have the summer school sign up using Autocrat and our summer enrichment, and they love it. And it's nice to demystify, like Craig said, the magic in the background.
Yeah.
And although it's nice to say, how'd you do that? It was a magic wand. No.
Yeah. I wonder too if you could do it with field trip permission forms. I mean, would that work? You know, by a parent. I know it's not an actual signature, but I wonder if they could say by putting your
digital signature. And some schools do.
Yeah.
By signing.
Yeah, we've when our kids are signing up for sports, we use a Google form, and we have a field that says by checking this off. This acts as your digital signature.
Yeah, York does that too, which I love because it drove me nuts in my last district that I would fill out the same paper field trip form with all the child the year, and I'm like the same exact stuff, and it always drove me nuts. So in York, I loved when we went there and everything was digital online. It was so easy. It was all Google Forms. So thank you, Eric Lawson, if you're watching. I appreciate that. All of that sort of thing over there in York. And it was so easy for as a parent and sign up using forms and so forth. Okay, I think I'm up now. So I will take over the screen here.
Well, thank you for sharing, Susan.
Oh, you're welcome. It's fun.
I think that's it's always good to just get someone else's perspective, and
Yes.
I think you shared some different ideas of varying degree for people who, some people might be ready for Autocrat, but some people might just be, hey, I'm all about that Bitmoji thing. So no, I think it's great.
In fact,
look at that.
you see my screen?
There you go.
Yeah, we see your Bitmoji. No?
You can't? Oh, no.
No, we can see your screen. You're good.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to show, first of all, this is the one that she should, because I was checking that out myself. I
think we lost her.
Oh, no, I'm here. Oh, no. The internet's been going up and down here. Am I back?
You're back.
Hopefully it'll stay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can. Yep.
I'll try.
We can hear you. You're good.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up something. This is an extension that I learned about when I was reading teachingforward.net, which is Jennifer Judkin's blog right here. And she had down here this great blog post that I loved all about rapid feedback in Google Docs with Checkmark. And so I checked it out, not make a pun, but I did. I came here and I went, oh, let me see how this works. And it's really so simple and straightforward, but it's also a little flexible, which I like. So basically what happens is, and hopefully my screen is still up there, you have this extension that you install and it puts a little check mark, a little green check mark up here. You have it. And Google Doc. And what happens is each of some general feedback, such as check capital. This one is use third person. I actually created that one. So all you do is you come over onto your document and let's see, grab this right here. And with this open, I can select this. And of course, it's going to give me a hard time because, and I can actually click for the C for check capitalization. And then I can select that right now. And I can hit C for check capitalization and it'll make a comment instantly on the screen over there. And this is where my computer is freezing, of course. Come on, come on. I'm going to try one more time.
I think you might have to highlight. Yep.
There we go. It keeps drawing. Let me see, I'm going to grab another one. Oh, so right here, maybe I needed some punctuation. So I'm going to select right there and I'm going to do punctuation. And notice not only did it instantly make the comments, but it numbered them, because if I come down here and say I notice, oh, once again, I need to check capitalization. Notice this time it says number 2. And the reason why it says 2 is it lets you know twice you had a capitalization issue. Once you had a punctuation thing that you needed issue or concern. So it actually will number to let you know what you have. For my son, he's one punctuation at the end. He just comes back and does that later. So it kind of lets you know this is something you need to work on the most, and it'll have the number there, which I really appreciated. But the other thing that's really cool is not only can you come down and use some of their ready to go feedback that instantly creates a comment. So here's one. I'm just going to, yeah, let's throw that one there. But you can actually come up to the extension. And this is the part that I love. You can customize it to fit for you. I'm always looking for voice when I'm working with students with writing, putting their voice into what they're writing. And right here, you can click this little pencil. And you can come down and you can make your own custom feedback code. So I put V for add voice. I could have put AV. And then for using third person, I put a 3P. So it's quickly for me, but for them, it'll show use third person. And if you notice, not only can I do custom codes, oh, don't freeze, computer, come on. You can actually create custom groups. So you notice this group right here and how it differs to this group right here. And then down, so you actually can make different groups of types of feedback comments. So this one I love because it's simple to use, but also it's flexible for your needs. And then no matter, come back here to our resource document, have to have installed or connected to the document. This one I don't. So I can actually ready to go for me. I forget what some of these are. So if you know, I love that I can do this because to come here and go, what is that one? Oh yeah, and paragraph needed right there. Because I may not remember them, and that's okay. You don't have to like sit with a dictionary in front of you. You can actually just select and hover over them to see the most common ones that you like to use. And if you notice, this is the first group, this is that second group, and there's my third group that I had made my own. So they're actually grouped visibly here as well when you're going around the document. So this is one that I really liked. And when I saw it on her post, I was like, ooh, I love that. It's just simple, fluid, but flexible enough as well. Okay, so I'm gonna.
Can I just make one comment?
Sure.
So you know how you chose the new paragraph needed on that one that you just did?
Yeah.
I noticed that if you want to customize and actually add to that, so if you don't mind just doing it again for another.
Or do you want me to go to the customization or actually just select something?
Yeah, just select something. I don't care what you select.
Okay, let me move down the page a little bit here that way. Okay.
All right, and then use that same one, new paragraph needed. Now, oh shoot. Okay, let's try it again. Let's see if we can do it one more time with something else.
Okay.
And then if you go over to the comment without hitting return and you add stuff, it actually alters the number count, but you have to do it right away, I believe. So I was thinking like, oh, so I want to add more to that statement. Like this is how you have to do it. But if you notice when you highlight, and correct me if I'm wrong, did you hit return after you selected something?
No.
No, you didn't. Okay. No. I noticed like if you tried to tweak up where at the top where it said, and you can't do it now, but where it says new paragraph needed, it actually treated it as a separate item, not grouped with the others. So I kind of didn't like that, but that's just a little note that you can actually add more content if you're someone who wants to be more just beyond the new paragraph needed.
Right.
You do have that ability to add to that as well.
Yeah, I really like that you can customize. And notice, like I put in a 3 because I'm visual, so I put in you can use symbols. Notice right here, you can use numbers, and that's me. So I like to put in the number 3 for 3 part, and that's just so I like that you can customize it in groups this way. You can do symbols, you can do numbers, but it's just simple, and that's the other thing I like about it.
You can also, I don't know if you did this or not, Jen, but if you click on that plus sign, you can add your own codes and your own comments. So it comes with its own set of canned comment.
Yep.
But if you click on the plus,
yep,
you can say, for example, to click on like one of the green plus signs.
Yep.
Perfect. And put like SP, and put spelling under the comment or something like that. You can do that as well.
Yeah, that's what I like, that you can create. Exactly. So this one I had created because I love that you can customize and add your own.
Yeah.
All of these really fit. And I like that you can do that because I like to keep the language the same with the students that I'm using. So I like that you can come through here and you can change it out to, to keep align the language that you're using in your class. And and it's simple. That's the other thing I liked about it. It's sometimes at first, when you first use it, seems a little clunky, but then after that, you're like, oh, and now every time I go somewhere and select, it's there and it's ready to go. But if you want it out of the way, I also like that I can just come up here and disable it. Like if I want it, stop doing that when I select text, I can hit disable. So I'm not like, oh, this thing's in my way.
Right.
So that was mine. I'm going to stop right there and let me switch out of my screen here and stop. So, Craig, did you have one that you wanted to share too, or something additional that you were thinking of? Or
no, I think Checkmark is really is like the go-to right now. You know, I know some people use Doctopus and Gubrick. That does take some learning.
Right.
And that's obviously not something that can be done in another 10 minutes. But
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to teachers, number one, not complaint, but teachers' hesitation is grading online because it does take time.
Right.
And it takes a little longer than it would if you had a piece of paper in front of you and you used your red marking pen or green, whatever color it is, and you go through and you go to town. So I do think that out of anything, I think grading online is the thing that is probably the least favorite thing for teachers. And being able to find some sort of format that works best. And I think Checkmark is kind of that thing right now, at least to start and to get somewhere. So I would, you know, just like Jen, if you're really looking for something that will give some honest feedback without having to spend a lot of time adding your own comments, I think that's something to take a look at.
Yeah, that's the thing I appreciate about it. It's not a lot of stuff. I love Gubrick, but it's a lot of setup, and especially for someone who's new, it does take a learning curve right there first. And it's just very simple, very intuitive, and easy to go on the fly. And I could align it with language really quick, and it didn't take a ton of, prep and so forth.
Sure.
So.
And for those teachers that can't let go of that red pen on paper thing, it is really hard. I mean, there are certain things that we grade and correct that are better done with a pen. And I know last year when I was in an iPad school and the teachers started using the Google Classroom writing feature in Classroom, where you could take, and I think that's mentioned in Eric Kurtz's link that I shared as well for this session, but that is a semi-substitute for the digital as a writing tool for the folks that are having a hard time just making that transition to working completely digital. I will say with the students though, their point of view is they like the digital because it's instant and they want to know right away, what's my grade? How did I do? Have you corrected our paper yet? So if you can find a way to get it off your plate and back onto theirs, sometimes that's great. But I like Checkmark too. It's cool.
Okay, so it's that time where we share things that are going on. Let's see. So I listed on the document. Do you want to share your screen and show the events that are coming up in Massachusetts and talk a little bit about those real quick?
Sure, I can do that. So I'm just going to hop over to the MassQ website.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
And then I'll share that screen. Hang on one moment here. All right. All right, so this is our MassQ website. Just a couple of things. Up at the top, we have a summer camp. That's an Apple for Educator camp coming up, if folks want to take a look at that. The summer Google Paloozas, I'm going to click on this because we're doing something a little bit different this year for Google. We're actually holding our very first ever Google out in Western Mass. That'll be out in Huntington, Mass.
Excellent.
August 8th for folks out in that part of the state. And there is an early bird special $20 discount. So for $45, you can take advantage of this training as long as you sign up before July 1st. We're also having one on the Cape, so come to the beach. So there'll be a Google Palooza down in Mashpee this year as well. And then up in Bedford, our very own Jen Lowden, and along with, I'm going to pull up the summer workshops. It's under the Educate menu. We have a ton of workshops out here. We have the Google Flyer Unit that's starting this week. And also the Educator Level 1 Boot Camp up at EdCo, Google Apps for Education Boot Camp to become an actual trainer. Jonathan Schmidt's going to be running that. So we have a lot of really good offerings this summer through MassQ, and some are very specific to Google. So I would highly recommend them, and some are even online, so folks don't even have to leave their house. But yeah, check out www.massq.org.
And Jacqueline, our own Jacqueline's going to be there too, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Jacqueline Carabinas. Yep, she is doing the level 1.
Yep, she wrangled me in. She wrangled me in, so I'll be there too, August 2nd, and I just checked. Yes, it's in my calendar. So
great.
All set for that, and I'm going to share my screen just for a quick second, and hopefully my computer will hold and you'll be able to see. Let's see if I can bring it up. Okay, perfect. So the only thing, there's one thing I was going to mention, and then I know there's something for Craig too, is for the Krista McAuliffe Conference, May 28th, this year. Please, right here, you come org and come to present, and you will see right here how you can go in, and the presenter proposal deadline is open until May 28th. So go ahead and submit that. We'd love to have you join us. And the other thing, I'm going to click over here, but I'll have Craig explain it. So let me click the link so it comes up. Okay, Craig.
So this will be my second year working with a math teacher who's very engrossed in tech and Google in the math classroom. And I think that's one of the weaknesses, if you will, when there are trainings. A lot of it doesn't pertain to, you always get math teachers that say, yeah, but it can't be done in a math classroom. And so in our session that's happening on, I believe it's August 16th, it's a Thursday. It's happening up in Bedford, New Hampshire. And we're just going to go over many different ways by which technology can in fact be used in the classroom. If you have Chromebooks and you are Google.
Kind of scrolling through the.
Yeah, and so all the details are.
Where's the date listed? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Right there, August 16th, and it's at Bedford High School in Bedford, New Hampshire. And you get a free lunch, very nice lunch, I might add. And you get to take away all the resources that are created from the day. So definitely, if you know a math teacher, definitely share that information out. Yeah, it's a great day of learning.
Yeah, I think math is definitely the one that I'm always trying to find the resources to best support them. Mm-hmm. And going through and to work with Desmo.
Yeah, Equatio.
Yeah. And and I loved when we interviewed for GMath and Equatio, and that was so awesome when we were showing how to work with that. And so I'm so excited that you're doing this, because I think it is one that they're, I hate to say underrepresented, but it's the one that we're always trying to find the most tools for. Oh, by the way, the other day, I got to play with GeoGebra's AR, augmented reality for GeoGebra. It's very, very cool. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely. Okay, excellent. So we are right about at time, and I did not see any questions live chat. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've missed, Craig. Have I missed anything there? I don't.
No, I don't think so. I think the only thing that we did want to mention is that we are looking for other Google for Education certified trainers in the state. I know there are many more than just the two of us.
Education trainers who join in. Oh, go ahead, Craig. Sorry, my connection must have dropped.
I know there's more than just the two of us in this. And I who run these each day. So let us know. Reach out to us.
Right. Sorry, I think I lost my connection for a minute, but I'm thinking Craig was just mentioning that we are looking for other Google trainers. And although Craig and I love talking every time and love interviewing others and so forth, we would love other people to get involved and to join in and bring, because the more perspectives that we can bring in, the more tools and resources that can be shared with all of you. And so we really would love to have some more of you to become involved, check it out. And it's not something that is all year round. We only do so many per year, and you can do it. Obviously, you can do it from your school. You can join in from home. So it's very flexible how you can be involved, and we'd love to have you join us.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great summer, and we hope to see you again in the fall.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.